New York City. A grid of millions moving in unison. But inside that grid, there is a glitch. We analyzed over 2 million crash records. On the surface, it looks like chaos. But when you peel back the layers, the chaos disappears. Patterns emerge. This isn't a story about accidents. It's a story about a predictable, systemic failure. We know when it happens. We know where. And we know why. First, the rhythm. The city has a heartbeat. Data shows crash risk is a cycle of human fatigue. The most dangerous time isn't midnight. It's 4 p.m., the afternoon slump. The most dangerous day is Friday, where work week exhaustion meets weekend anticipation. We also found a tale of two cities. The morning is dominated by impatient speeding and lane violations, but the night belongs to a darker force. Between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. on weekends, DUI and drug incidents spike. The roads are emptier, but the drivers are far more dangerous. But geography dictates destiny. When we map the data, we see the imbalance of the city's car accidents distribution. In Manhattan, the risk is shaped like a chessboard. It's the core. Density is the problem. Drivers fight 4 inches in gridlock, leading to following too closely and improper lane usage. A spike in the reason driver's physical condition indicates the mental fatigue of constant stop and go. Traffic drains drivers, leading to errors in judgment. But cross into Brooklyn and Queens, and the pattern changes. Risks come from speeding and traffic violations. They cling to the arteries now, massive expressways. Here is the critical insight. High frequency does not mean high severity. Manhattan glows with accidents, but they are fender benders. You can't drive fast enough to die in gridlock, but on the open arteries of the outer boroughs, speed turns accidents into tragedies. The conclusion is stark. Manhattan bruises you, but the expressways kill you! Staten Island, however, is the suburban profile. With wide lanes and open expressways, drivers mismanage their velocity. Here, unsafe speed and failure to yield skyrocket in the rankings. Crucially, visibility and environmental factors also contribute significantly here. Unlike the 24-hour brightness of Manhattan, Staten Island relies on standard streetlights. On these open roads, fog, rain, and darkness become genuine hazards, suggesting a gap in local infrastructure lighting and signage. So, where does the city bleed the most? We found the top dangerous intersections cluster around 3 specific points: the Lincoln Tunnel, the Brooklyn Bridge, and the Williamsburg Bridge. These are the funnels. This is the gateway clusters, where the region's high-speed arteries, exits, bridges, tunnels, and highways violently insert themselves into the city's fragile grid. 4 of the 10 most dangerous spots in the entire city, including the #1 crash site, Flatbush Avenue Extension, and Tillery Street, are located around the ends of these bridges. It is a design failure. Drivers are blinded by complex sightlines and forced to merge from wide avenues into narrow lanes. It creates a perfect storm of confusion and pressure. It's not just bad driving, it's bad geometry. The Lincoln Tunnel cluster, which claims 3 separate spots in our top 10 list, is the desperation of the commute. Unlike the bridges where cars are speeding up to merge, here they are trapped in gridlock. Frustrated drivers block intersections and make aggressive, last-second lane changes to escape the city. The data proves these crashes are a system. To fix a system, we need to target the flaws. First, infrastructure. We need to redesign the interfaces, the highway exits. We need physical measures that force deceleration before cars hit the city streets. Second, policy. We know 4 p.m. is the danger zone. A citywide staggered commute initiative could lower the pressure on the system. Finally, behavior! We must move from general education to targeted intervention, catering for both professional drivers and the general public. We have the data. We know the choke points. The question is no longer why these crashes happen. The question is, are we ready to design a city that stops them?